Welcome everybody to another episode of Serenity Airsoft. Now I have to apologize, at this point I was still getting used to the camera, especially with its position in relation to my sight. I'm going to let you guys figure out why I took a different approach with this video as I aim at the banner on the wall. Yeah, so for the less observant of you, my weapon sight winds up completely blocking off whatever I'm aiming at. That's okay. I think that this is a good opportunity to talk about urban tactics, especially in Airsoft, and to just establish right away my thoughts and feelings about producing cheater videos. With that being said, let's hop right into it. Now, it's important to establish what exactly we were dealing with here. The field was very compact, being built on maybe half an acre. Walls consisted of converted pallets with wood paneling on them, creating semi-decent walls, although not perfect. One half of the field consisted of just piled up debris, as you see here, and the other side was the same pallet walls formed in a maze pattern. To accommodate the size of the field and the number of players, the game admins designed the games to be very fast-paced. Lives were few, hits were often, and players would cycle through so that we could just get on with the next game. Now there are two main principles that I'd like for you to get out of this video. The first being, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Now what I'm about to say next might be a little bit controversial, but hear me out. Slow does not equal fast. Slow is slow, fast is fast. But this principle of slow is smooth, smooth is fast is best applied in training environments. One of the biggest mistakes that people make when they enter into urban environments is that they go too darn fast. A principle you will see over and over in this video is just that, people not paying attention to the details because they're going too fast. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast is best applied in training environments, especially when you're working with teammates. If you just decide to try to clear a room with somebody you have no prior experience with, you have no baseline to go off of. You don't know who's going to watch what, who's going to go where, who's going to cover what sector, etc., etc. And especially you don't know how fast the other person is going to go. Timing is so important when working with a teammate in a CQB environment, and if your timing is off, both of you are going to get hit. This principle becomes a lot trickier when approaching new environments or when running solo. Basically, just try to keep this idea in mind. Do not outpace your ability to take in your surroundings. As you're approaching an unfamiliar room, an unknown hallway, multiple situations, try to take in as much information as you can, even if that means just simply crossing over and taking a peek inside as you move. Just remember again that slow does not equal fast. If you have to move, move deliberately. Move with a purpose. The slower you move, the easier target you become. Now, I know a lot of what I'm saying here does sound contradictory, but it's more of a balancing act. Again, don't outpace your ability to take in your surroundings. Don't outpace your teammates. However, when you have to move, make sure you do it with a purpose. Now, the second principle I want everybody to try to remember is to try to be unpredictable. This mostly refers to how you come in and out of cover and how you come around corners. Simply put, most people will naturally expect you to come out at eye level. So, don't do that. Stay low, or go high, as I do here. With the important basics out of the way, let's hop into some of the nitty-gritty. Here we will see one of the most important aspects of urban tactics demonstrated, that action is always faster than reaction. At the end of this hall, we observe an enemy player. I will use a crossing over tactic and a peeking tactic to try to keep his head down. It doesn't matter that the enemy player is watching down this hall with his gun up and ready, because I am bursting from cover, ready and shooting. That means that I am always going to be pulling the trigger before he can react to my coming out from cover. Unfortunately, I am killed from another angle.
Oh, hey, coming back.
Let's watch this same peeking tactic when it's used against me.
Whoa! Watch your right side, right side.
Now I know it's difficult to see, but if you observe carefully, through this blue pallet, an enemy player will peek around the corner, using the same tactic that I was using earlier to great effect. Remember, my gun is up and ready to go. I know somebody's going to come around that corner, and yet because he is making the deliberate decision to come around that corner shooting, he will always pull that trigger faster than I can react. And also, let's just establish that pallets are terrible cover.
Hey, coming out.
Let's talk about pieing corners. Now, pieing a corner refers to how I come around the corner. Do I turn the corner flush with the wall where my profile will be largest to enemy players on the opposite side, or do I back up, thus giving me a smaller profile while maintaining my own visibility as I turn the corner? Here's a technique very much so in the same vein as pieing a corner. Utilizing this door in this manner, I can create an awesome shooting lane for myself, while making it very difficult for enemy players to shoot at me. Now to talk about situational awareness. In urban areas, a split second makes all the difference. You'll see an enemy player right here. Now, due to the placement of the camera above my eyes, the camera can see him. Now, whether through just plain old unobservance or the fact that my eyes are lower than the camera, I did not see this player. And I suffer the consequences.
Hey, coming out.
Let's watch this principle of situational awareness be on my side. Now, even though I know that I have teammates watching my back, I still check my surroundings occasionally to make sure that everything is still safe. Right here, I spot an enemy player. This player didn't notice the gap in the wall. I did, and that allows me to get the drop on him. Here's another example of yet the small details making a big difference. Here we see that players are recognizing that they can aim through the pallets, through the walls, to hit enemy players, and it yields results. Small details make a big difference, especially in urban situations. Alright, so now it's high time to talk about something near and dear to all of our hearts, cheater videos. As it turns out, I've got a perfect example to show.
Hey, coming out.
Yep, practically point-blank range, and the guy still didn't call it. But that's actually not the most important part of this video. Watch what happens just a few seconds later as I go back to get my revenge.
Back in.
Saved him. He saved him from life.
You got me. Dead man, coming out, dead man.
You see that? We smile, we laugh, we bump this, and we move on with our lives. Now, don't get me wrong, Cheating in Airsoft is absolutely horrible. This sport is based entirely on players' honesty, and cheaters ruin that for everyone. But there's a flip side to this coin that we also have to bear in mind. We are not as operator as we think we are. It's so hard to know for a 100% certainty that somebody else is cheating. This is why I really honestly don't like a lot of cheater videos on YouTube. Now there are some rare exceptions out there, but really, for most of the videos I've seen, it's difficult to say whether or not the BB actually hit the enemy player. Anybody who's played Airsoft for more than a few hours knows that there's so many little factors that can affect the trajectory of your BB. A blade of grass, a twig, the wind, your hop-up being off, obstruction to the barrel. So many little factors drastically change where your BB's going. On top of that, and let's be totally frank here, we've all been a cheater at some point or another. I don't know a single Airsoft player out there who has been 100% honest their entire playing career. Again, I'm not trying to justify cheating. It is still unacceptable. All I'm trying to say is that whether deliberately or not, we've all cheated at some point. A BB may hit you and you just don't realize it. There's so many little things that happen to good, honest players. And the biggest problem that happens when it comes to witch hunts against cheaters is when it comes down to new players. New players oftentimes struggle with understanding what it feels like to get hit with a BB, especially when they're wearing gear, layers of clothing, etc., etc. If you ever truly and honestly believe that another player is cheating, yes, try to resolve the problem in the proper way. Bring it up to an authority. Whatever you do, don't try to be a vigilante about it. There have been too many fights caused on fields because of that kind of an attitude. In my opinion, somebody yelling out, "Hey, call your hits," is going to ruin my day just as bad as having a cheater on the field. To me, this reflects an attitude of poor sportsmanship and a fundamental misunderstanding that Airsoft is an imperfect game and that your weapon is imperfect and that, again, you are not as operator as you may think you are. And finally, if you remember nothing else about my thoughts on reacting to cheaters, please remember this. At the end of the day, we're all just dweebs, dressed out in camo and way too expensive gear, playing with toy guns shooting BBs at each other. How I enjoy the day, how I react to an offending party is entirely dependent on me. Am I going to let this cheater ruin my whole day, or am I going to roll with the punches and move on with my life? I've covered a lot of ground today about urban tactics and cheater videos, so I think it's best to stop it here before I put my foot too much into my own mouth. Please do all the YouTube things, like, subscribe, share, comment, and please let me know if you enjoy this style of educational video. This has been Serenity Airsoft reminding you the primary rule of Airsoft: don't be a douchebag.
That light was hot right there.